Thursday, the NFL draft begins in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's a several day process, going to be held over 3 days: Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The Jacksonville Jaguars have the fifth overall pick. And so earlier today, we spoke with Tim Walters, who's the sports editor of the Florida Times Union and Florida Today, to talk about what the Jags' needs are and who they might pick.
So the Jaguars this year have 10 draft picks, which is quite a few, and they have 11 next year. So they're going to be looking to fill a lot of holes as they have a new general manager in James Gladstone and a new head coach in Liam Cohen. Their needs are many. They pretty much could pick anything from any position except maybe quarterback. I think they're going to key in on the defense to start, though. I have a few numbers that are kind of eye-popping from their defense last year. Last year, they gave up the most yards in the league of any team by more than 150 yards over the next worst team, which is the Baltimore Ravens. So they were pretty bad there. Only four teams gave up more touchdowns than the Jaguars did, and only two teams, the Browns and the Giants, had fewer interceptions. The Jaguars only had 6 interceptions in 17 games last year, which is terrible. They had the fifth fewest sacks. That's kind of surprising considering you have Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. And then Eric Armstead, of course, in his first year with the Jags, a little bit of a disappointment. Of course, he was coming off a meniscus injury. They were playing him in a place where he doesn't normally play. So I think they're going to be looking at defense early on. The other spot that they might look at, and I don't think it will be there when they get to their number 5 draft pick, is on the offensive line. So I think what they're ultimately going to do is they will take Mason Graham, who is the edge rusher out of Michigan. I think that that's going to be that third piece that they're looking for to pressure the quarterback. It's something that Liam Cohen likes to do a lot. As I mentioned on offensive line, they would love to get Will Campbell, but he'll probably go number 4 to the New England Patriots because they have a young quarterback that they're also trying to protect over there, just like the Jaguars want to do for Trevor Lawrence. If the Jaguars weren't going to go with Mason Graham, there's a few different avenues that they could go. One might be another guy out of Michigan, and he's a defensive back because they certainly need help in the secondary, and that's Will Johnson. They also could surprise some people and take Ashton Jeanty, the running back out of Boise State. He's projected to go really high. He's a guy from the Jacksonville area, and of course, Travis Etienne is coming off his worst year as a pro in 4 years, and then Tank Bigsby. He never really became the running back yet that they were hoping. Big, bruising, powerful guy. Cut down on his drops last year, his fumbles. But I think that if they wanted to surprise people, they may do that. But I think ultimately you're going to see Mason Graham go off the board at number 5.
So a lot of room for improvement in a lot of different aspects of the Jags game. But what better way to address that when you do have so many draft picks this year and next? So it kind of sets them up if things go right, if they handle this draft the right way, that they could make some improvements.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, the Jaguars, out of all 32 NFL teams, have the fewest players on their roster right now. So not only are they looking to take a lot of draft picks, you could see a lot of undrafted free agents being signed after the draft. I know that they're looking at that avenue. Look, like I said, William Cohen and James Gladstone, they're looking to get this team younger. These are real analytics guys. They're looking at the numbers, they're crunching all of the minutia. And, this is going to be the youngest duo in the league. When you look at Gladstone, 34 years old, when you look at Cohen, 39 years old, to give you an idea of how young that is, at a combined 73 years old, they are 5 years younger than the current president of the United States. So these guys, they're looking to make a difference, and they have that chance right now. Those 10 draft picks, one in the first round, then they have one in the second round, number 36 overall pick, and if they don't take a cornerback, I would be completely surprised because their secondary has just been just terrible the last couple of years. It got Mike Caldwell, their defensive coordinator from 2 years ago, fired, and it got last year's defensive coordinator fired after 1 year. So they were just really bad. And they like a guy out of Ole Miss who could still be there at the number 36 pick. His name is Trey Amos, and he's 6'1", 195 pounds. At the combine, he posted a 4.43 40-yard dash and a 32.5-inch vertical leap and 10-foot 6-inch broad jump. So, I mean, this is a guy with great athleticism. He was a 5-year college player, so he brings in some experience and could probably start right away. He was with Alabama for a season before Ole Miss, and then he was with Louisiana for 3 years before that. In all, he played 61 games in college. And so this is a guy, he had 4 interceptions. I think he's a really experienced player. So if he's still there, I know that this is one of the guys on their wish list in the second round. And then after that, they have 2 picks in the third round. They have 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, and 1 in the seventh. So there's all sorts of things that they could do with them. But right now, I think that you're going to see defense go off the board early for the Jaguars.
Do you think when this draft is said and done, we will see an approach, or will have noticed an approach from this new head coach and GM administration that may be in some ways noticeably different than the previous?
Yeah, these guys there, Doug Peterson, he's a very he's I guess you could say at this point he's an old school type of NFL guy. And if you watch what they did last year, both on offense and defense weren't the most imaginative things that you were going to see. I think that's one thing that led Shad Khan ultimately to firing Doug Peterson. I think he's still a very good head coach, but Shad had mentioned several times in a press conference just how predictable. I think he used the word predictable about a half dozen times. And I think what you get with Liam Cohen is an unpredictability. I mean, if you look at the 2 places he's been, so he was with the Buccaneers the last couple of years. He helped Baker Mayfield kind of resurrect himself and have, his best years in the NFL, make the playoffs. Before that, he was with the Rams, and that's also where Gladstone was. These guys learn a lot from Sean McVay. They come from a very good coaching tree, and again, McVay, he was kind of the first of this new type of head coach. And so these guys have learned really under the new wave of coaching. And so I think that you are going to see things that are a lot more, to use that word again, unpredictable than what we saw from the Jaguars the last 2 years.